always a bit of a shock to me, and I hate public speaking, but I love Jo, so I agreed to get kind of, dug out and put up here. And I believe in recycling, so here's my presentation from 2021. How many of you were at that? Oh, yep, quite a few. Yep. Sorry to bore you all. So I'll try and rush through it as much as I can. Okay, thank you. But it kind of explains where it all came from and such. So I got my first deck right away Smith, when I moved to Sydney when I was 18. There's me. I was full of angst, as you can see. I was trying to work out who I was, understand the world around me, and I found the archetypes in Rider-Waite-Smith just really helpful symbols to explore. Worked all that. And it's, I was writing, doing performance poetry, drawing, and working as a temp queen exhibitions. I self-published a book of illustrated poetry in my early 20s, and I started painting. Still so much angst. I lived in an attic in Redfern in the 90s. Attic. Sorry, this is really visual. So people up the back, I'm sorry if you can't see too well, but oh well. I couldn't find anywhere to rent when I got kicked out from the Olympics because my landlords renovated the whole house, and for 2 weeks they could get what we paid in a year. So they just evicted everybody and did it up too fancy for me to be able to afford. So I went to the US, went to stay with a friend, and I bought a small laptop, and I wasn't allowed to work there. And so I just started building my own dream deck, which read like Rider-Waite-Smith, but looked like Visconti's Forza or Bembo or whatever. That was my inspiration anyway, because hopefully, if you were into tarot in the 90s, early 2000s, there weren't many decks in existence compared to now. And so I would have just gone and bought a deck that did that, but they didn't exist. And so I love Visconti's Forza so much. So Rider-Waite-Smith symbols, the illustrated minors, that to me, that was the really revolutionary thing. Is I'm not very good at remembering things, ADHD, but I love systems. And so for me, the Rider-Waite-Smith gave me a system, and also stories. The minor arcana being stories was something I could really relate to. Love the look of decks like the Visconti's Forza, but I can't remember anything. The lack of figurative pips really bothered me. So being a nerd, I just started making my own deck out of art history, out of historical paintings. My grandma was an art teacher. I'll get onto her more later, but the only books I had as a kid, she used to buy me art history books and artist books, and I absolutely loved Renaissance art and also obscure other periods. She'd buy me a book for my birthday, and suddenly I'd be like, ooh, Arthur Rackham, he's my favorite. Anyway, so there weren't any decks on the market, so I just started making them. I was traveling with a very small laptop, and the 90s, things were pretty different then. Didn't even have a mouse. I had to use a touchpad to Photoshop. So that was not easy. So they're kind of pretty basic. And I put them online, and they were sourced from low-res images off the web, and they were only really meant for the web. So they were very low resolution. So this was what the first version looked like, was web only. As you can see, not a lot of symbols in there because I had very limited source material. And then it got pirated in Germany. So it did get printed, but not with my consent. Or it was only the majors, and it was sold with a calendar. And, at first I was devastated, and I thought, well, at least it gets it out there. That's nice. And fans started getting in touch with me and thought that was terrible that it got pirated. And so a person who'd now become a friend, Judy Tellinger, especially one of my fans, she started this sort of emailing campaign unbeknownst to me, and apparently lots of fans were emailing US games. And Stuart Kaplan approached me and said, can I publish your deck. And those people who know Stuart pretty well, use Stuart pretty well. And to have the confidence of someone like Stuart, he wrote the tarot encyclopedias, founded US Games. I'm sure everybody here knows. Such a loss. Anyway, so he wanted to make it like their fancy deck. So I got like gold edges and the beautiful box and stuff. And here we are over 20 years later and it's still selling, which just stuns me. And then I got invited by JV to the conference in Melbourne. And again, I'm not a public speaker, but I got to meet Mary for the first time, which was amazing. And it's just operating. And so Jasper and I had just been together a year then, but he came with me and we met Dan Pelletier from Troubadour and had a great time. Except that so many people were at me and I'm not very good with people being autistic, and so I ended up like swapping his for like a volunteer one so that people would know who I was. Very intimidating.
And it didn't work, okay?
No, it didn't work very well. I'll be bent forks.
Yes.
Long story. I met some amazing people. And so Goldman was my first step. Still exists. And then a few years later, another art period that I really love, I want the early Renaissance, pre-Renaissance, that Golden was based on, like 100 years before the Renaissance. But I also really, really love like the golden age of Dutch illustration, Dutch painting, that kind of era. And again, in artistic, I have to really learn to read faces. And so to me, to have a deck of faces, of portraits, would be really, really helpful. And so I started making a portrait deck. And this was originally actually for mobile phone. Again, this is before iPhones and things. In fact, there we go. That's what phones look like. And to me, it was like, whoa, big picture. But of course now that's quite a joke. So I was making it for the phone, and I put a few of the cards on Eclectic Tarot Forum, if anyone remembers Eclectic, which was just so amazing. And I sort of said, oh, yeah, but I have to have a day job, so I'm not going to have time to make the full deck, but this is what it would look like, would people think a portrait deck would be a good idea and stuff. And then someone got in touch with me. They weren't a Nigerian prince, it was actually just an ass, and said, if I paid you to stay home and make the deck, would you do it? And I was like, oh, yes, please. And also because patronage was obviously such an important issue, or such an important factor in that era of artwork, I thought to have a patron was like super cool and appropriate. And so that person, who I will not name and or say anything about, they gave me $5,000 and said, go and make your deck. And I was like, yes. And so I did, I made it. Not expecting ever to be published, but I sort of said, so that they could get a deck, I'd make like a limited edition one, really just for them. And it obviously became more of a thing. And I think these are from the original version of the deck. The proportion is kind of weird for a tarot deck, as you probably noticed, because it's made for a Nokia. And so I made that, but I was trying to come up with names, Tarot Voglio, Taroccello, but I just couldn't quite get it right. Also, I shoot Italian, it's more kind of Dutch, German. And then I found this painting, and the guy is holding a touchstone. And I thought, that's what I want my deck to be, is something that you hold in your hand, but that gives you something to, touchstones are actually a thing that you use to like assay gold or whatever. And so it's a thing that you use to assess the value of other things. And that seemed really appropriate to me. And there wasn't only a deck called that, so that's shown it began. So that's the limited edition. And my mum sewed the bags. And they're like, mother? And I made an app for iPhone readings and I had lots of fun with that. But it's a pain in the butt to update apps. So again, with ADHD, so the ADHD bit was like, I'm on board of that now. So we went through the app from the App Store and didn't do it anymore. And the first publication, I don't think I even asked US Games, but someone approached me again, guy from a company called Canasi, who were a Canadian publisher, and he was just a really big fan, and he said he wanted to make a tarot deck. They only published novels, but he wanted to make a tarot deck. So they made Touchstone into a deck. I had to remake it at higher resolution and stuff, but it came out. And it is really beautiful. It was huge, like, again, they made that decision, not me. And it had like wooden portrait frames and stuff. I don't know if I got some of the cards set. No. And then, unfortunately, GFC hit. During the original Great Depression, apparently so many bookstores went under because people weren't buying books. And so publishers agreed that booksellers could always give back books at full price if they needed to cut back on stock. Unfortunately, it's because we're such a disposable society that means that a novel has like 12 weeks and then it all gets returned to be pulped. Whoa. Tarot decks, luckily, not so much. And Canasi said if they'd only had tarot decks, if they'd only had my deck, they would have been fine because not one deck got returned. But of course, all bookstore stock of books got sent back. And they just couldn't keep going, so they went under. When they went under, I had the option that they could have all just been sent to remainder stores, discount bookstores in America. And I said no, I wanted to make sure that people would be able to buy them at a decent price for as long as they existed. And so Tarot Garden and another online bookseller, they took the stock, most of the stock anyway. And so you were able to buy it from them. And then, read tarot cards once, long story, never do it again. Oh, and my mum was really proud when she saw it on Home and Away. I've also done a few single cards for special events like conferences and those two decks. And then about 10 years later, Stuart got in touch with me again and he said, are there any touchstones left out there? And I said, I don't think so, because they're $600 on eBay, so probably not. And I said, talk to Tarot Garden, I don't know. And so he said that he would publish it also because my mum at that stage was terminally ill and she wanted to see it republished before she passed away. Didn't quite make it, but she did see the proofs, so she knew. So there's Stuart, and also there's me and my mum and my grandma was a really big influence in my life. That's one of my grandma's paintings on the left, and then that's one of my golden tarot cards on the right. And my granddad was killed in World War II, and she never remarried, and she wouldn't talk about him for a long time. And then when she was on depression, she at least finally started talking about him. And she was going through my college deck, and she'd been trying to teach me to draw since I was like 3. And I was just hopeless. I now know I have bad perception because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but I was just always frustrated that it wouldn't come out of there and go there. So I started doing digital collage, and she just didn't think that was real art, but she did like the artwork. And I showed her that card, and she said, "Lovers? He hasn't got much to love with, has he?" She was... What Jasper and I mostly do now, we project on things. We collaborate with other artists, but we also do our own projections with project artists. So we project on anything that doesn't move. In some of it's interactive. Sorry for the people up the back, this is kind of all visual. If you go to the Perth Children's Hospital, that's our work in the foyer, the huge interactive one in the foyer. Don't go there unless you're visiting someone that you're very sick. But anyway, that's our artwork. Right, so that was a quick version of my last talk. So now I got asked to do a talk, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk now. And I've sort of been really half-assedly. Oh, also acknowledgement of country. I don't know if you help on this morning, so I acknowledge the crucial of this owners of the land on which we are today, and the Wajik people. It is awesome. So awesome. Because we work with a lot of Aboriginal artists. Important. So I've been for a few years really half-assedly, because we build virtual worlds for our projection. I've been half-assedly, when we have spare time, doing a tarot one. And so I said, oh yeah, I'll do immerse in the Tarotverse. I'll try and get a playable scene so that you can play a game that's tarot. Been collecting assets for years, so like relating to specific cards. Anyway. And then I realized I started kind of build the world, and I thought, this is going to take me months. And what I had at the end will probably be really lame, because to make a game, a proper video game like this, literally takes like about 3 to 5 years. So it wasn't going to happen in time for the conference. So I thought, well, what's been immersive about our recent day job, or should I say night job, projects? So there's something that we did recently for the WA Museum for their Terracotta Warriors exhibition. And that was scenes of everyday life in ancient China, projected onto a building. And so we got to it for 3 months, just completely immersing ourselves in 2,000 years ago in China, which is just such a privilege, what we're doing for our day job, night job. And then more recently we did this one, which... Oh, yep, I'll just play one of... We projected birds into a skate bowl for city of Kwinana. Kwinana's a real birding hotspot, if anyone's a birders here. So we did videos. Is this time coming up?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. That's already on max.
you went the other way.
It's coming out of my laptop, Jasper. I did break it, sorry. Oh, turned off. Sorry. Let's see anyway. Hopefully I'll get sound.
A coat of satin, black and white in tone, singing a warble that is hers alone. The morning star in a feather gown, the magpie watches as the light comes down.
Anyway, so that's kind of the thing that we do for our like day job, night job. But I thought, well, that even though that wasn't technically immersive, kids just loved getting into the bowl, the money around, and the projections. The soundtrack was a really strong part of it. Like everyone was trying to Shazam songs, or coming up and asking us where they could get songs and stuff, and they were custom made by us for the event. And sorry, back to that. Right. So then I had the idea. To do a song for the Empress because she's the card of the festival. So I wrote lyrics. It was based on Rider-Waite-Smith images because that's my default for what tarot is. Even though I've got 2 decks, they're not close enough for me to Rider-Waite-Smith because I was so limited in the content that I used to make them. So I did the song based on Rider-Waite-Smith. And over 23 years of protecting as VJ Zoo, we've written so many musicians, but I wasn't going to ask one of them to just, can you make me a free song? So we did it in Suno. So the idea that they're my other 2 empresses. And I don't know if I've ever told you, Mary, that one's meant to be you. The touchstone one. I know you say the other Queen's swords, but to me, you're Empress. It does look like it, doesn't it? I think it looks like her. Anyway, that was for Mary. Text. I ran out of time to do a proper PowerPoint because, well, you'll see. So what I wanted to do was make something more Rider-Waite, but I've completely exhausted my favourite art history periods by now because there's only so many paintings and there's not a lot of the things that you need for a tarot deck. So I've been using AI because we use AI in our work. And I know a lot of people are opposed to AI, and I think, fair enough. There's some very bad things about some AI, and like I would not use the name, of a living artist because I think that they should be compensated for their work. And I would always do it offline if I can because of the pollution problems in America and the water usage issues. There's all sorts of bad things about some AIs. Don't use Grok. Don't use ChatGPT. Use the other ones like Claude. Anyway, so it's a pretty nuanced kind of subject. It's, if you're just saying all AI is bad, I'm never going to use AI, you're probably going to have to struggle in the current world. My absolute fantasy would be if I could take photos of what's in my head, because I have hyperphantasia, which means that I see things really, really vividly in my head. Like this Apple thing, you've probably seen that online. Some people see no pictures at all. We've worked with some people like that. That's quite hard for me to conceptualize that you can't see the picture in your head when I see such vivid ones. And Strange Days, like a 90s movie where they could like record what was in their head. And to me, that was just like, oh my God, that'd be amazing if I could just hit record. You can't. So I did start off sort of like, we do pay for really good AI, and I sort of half-assedly tried, and I thought, yeah, it's all right. And that's one I used probably when on my social media, when I said I was going to be talking to. Sorry if I'm going too slightly, I'll keep going. And I wanted to make one that was like pre-Raphaelite stained glass. This is actually an installation that we did that was digitally collaged from actual Lewis Comfort Tiffany works for June to Up Festival a few years ago. So I wanted that look, but of course if you just stuck to Lewis Comfort Tiffany and pre-Raphaelite stained glass, there's not enough to make a tarot deck in existence. So I wanted that look, but I've used AI to make the components. I was not happy with what AI could do out of the gate like that. I wanted all the symbols in all the cards. So there she is. So she's the Empress. Sorry, I should have put that up better, shouldn't I? So that's the Empress card that I made to go with the song. I'll play you the song.
Excuse me, Pat, I have actually pulled these materials.
Oh yeah. In fact, it's gone live now. So yeah, you'll see. You totally are able to now.
You'll see.
You'll see. Oh, hang on. Here's the Empress Amplifier. Here we go. I use medieval music because Of course, Pixie's deck is sort of MIDI and vibe, so mostly MIDI music.
Her head is crowned in 12-fold stars. Healed are the spirits, closed are the scars. Robe of pomegranates, red on white. Her spun gold hair, kissed by the light. She sits on her throne by the river's flow, watching the bounty round her grow. Nature's riches, wealth untold, as springtime's wonder does unfold. With heart of wisdom and hand of peace, she bids the sting of winter cease. Abundance follows where her shadow falls, through the greening woods and the garden walls. Oh, mother of the fertile land, creation held within her hand. Cooperation, heart and soul, making the broken spirit whole. The earth's own balance, love's own grace, reflected in her gentle face. Emotions deep, the river's song, nurturing all where we belong. Abundance flows, the blessings stay under the stars. The Empress waits.
On YouTube, so anyway, and also I made it for Jo, so this says
What did you and me?
yeah. Hello, well, because you hear them talk and I didn't have anything, I had to come up with something. And Nicola actually said, which she said when we were at dinner, I said, oh, I'm working on a surprise. And she said, oh, is it another happy squirrel card? Because, and again, another whole talk, there's a happy squirrel card in one of the decks. Oh, yeah, you found it. Well, you probably know the rest of it then. Don't look. If I didn't stop, though, at one card. I made the whole deck. If I got any of the meanings wrong, oops, but you're about 20 years too late because they're from the books. They're with those, so oops. But I would love feedback. So what I'm going to do is a soft launch, I guess. And if anyone wants to give me feedback by the end of the month, I can take that into consideration and maybe change the songs of the deck or whatever. Because I want to launch it on the 1st of April because it's April Fool's Day, and I thought Stuart would have found that funny. Might not get it, but so he started making these They get cheesier and cheesier. So, you know, these ones are like, yeah, okay, all right, if we have to do it, it's better than my face on them. And then they started to get, so, yep, tell them, yeah. I was like, yep, that's good. And then he's a bit silly. I mean, we both are, but he's even more silly. Hangs man, accept the things you cannot change. And then, really, Jasper, we're getting a bridge too far. But you'll recognise that face from YouTube thumbnails. Yeah. They also have this thing called A/B testing where you put two different thumbnails. They tell you which one works best. That's why there were two for the Empress, because she was the first card. Like, really, bridge too far, Jasper, bridge too far.
Someone will click on that.
Oh, sorry, you've got to go. Hang on. I can't take this anyway. Taking time to apologise. So we made it live at midday today. We were hoping no one would find it. We figured you'd all be busy. So it went live for feedback. It's a draft only, so I would love any feedback. So you've got till the end of the month because April Fool's Day, I'm making it, officially it's out. Of course, there isn't a real deck because, I just finished it last night. Maybe if there's enough demand, I might make a, my own. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, these. Hands up.
Okay. It's a lot easier now than when I self-published back in 2000, whatever. So it would be pretty easy for me to do a run. I don't think you're going to be too miffed because they have a policy that anything that involved any AI is not permitted at the moment. Maybe that will change in the future, but at the moment, obviously.
Marisa, all back six.
Thank you. It's definitely a lot easier now. Like you can even kick would you like gold edges? Yes.
100 each or 200 each.
Okay. We'll talk.
Make 400.
Thank you.
That's better. There's books called startup.
Thank you.
But we will want them fried.
You want them all signed? Oh God, I haven't never. This is right.
It's in a cat. Take your dinner.
First time. So Jasper secretly hidden these away for me. Let's hope that they load. I'm tethered off a phone, so I don't know. So that's my my YouTube. Because I've only just kind of really got onto my YouTube. It's just been sitting there for years. We have other social media, but YouTube I hadn't. But that's where I thought it was sensible to deliver it. So there's a playlist of all 78 of them. If anyone's got a spare 5 hours tonight, or joking, that is how long the whole deck runs. So if you would like to look at them over the next week and a little bit, and give me any feedback, that'd be awesome. And also I need more subscribers because YouTube won't let me do half the things because unless you have 1,000 subscribers. And because this is actually just my private account, I've never tried to get subscribers. I think I've got 9 subscribers, one of which is Jasper. So if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be very helpful. Awesome. And it should work well on the phone because I've uploaded the portrait versions. I also have been doing, for the actual proper release, there'd be portrait version and landscape, as in just normal video version. If it loads. This is just an example of what I would do. I'll just fast forward a bit.
London tide wanders through the countryside in motley glows of green and gold, a story that has just begun to be told. Snowy peaks are far and wide. He walks toward the morning light.
And the medieval music, I thought, oh, I'm not going to really be offended by that. But then I actually said the other, to two people, the other person who said I don't name him, but he apparently worked in an Irish pub in his 20s. And he said that he's traumatised by the sound of dulcimer. And so when he said to me, he opened this, I was like, and he wouldn't even talk to me after. They'll forgive me one day, I'm sure. But so, yeah. The type of music varies. Obviously, I've tried to get the right vibe for each one. I personally really love dark cards, you know, such an inner heart room. So, like this one. And I really love cello and oboe. Sorry, tell me if I'm going over time, Joe.
A scarlet organ, soft and lone, suspended in the silver mist. 3 blades of steel have damage done by sorrow's icy shadow kissed. Heavy the clouds above the deep, where every promise goes to sleep. The truth is to be torn beneath the weight of leaden skies. The spirit meets the iron thorn as every old illusion dies. Was ignorance a sweeter bed than all these words so sharply said? The rain descends in heavy streaks to wash the copper from the wound, while every silent chamber speaks of all the wreckage on the ground. Grief is the master of the day, turning the golden fields to
Sorry, they are falling songs. It's okay.
is a breath. Wisdom is born in the shadow of death. The storm will break and cut the cords. The bitter edge of the Three of Swords.
There's like a number 75, but I know.
Hey, what about on social media? Hey, after you both YouTube,
That would be awesome. Just make it clear that it's like that I actually want feedback at the moment. It's a soft launch.
can I do a like
Yeah, totally.
say all that and also throw in Anita and I said we could warm it with eggs. Good for only 400. So if everyone's comfortable, go on social media now.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to, and also if you could follow us on YouTube, it would be awesome. Sorry, yes?
You know, instead, do you want me to put in my newsletter? Saying,
That would be awesome. Yeah. So it is all there. But if I've got anything really wrong, do let me know. But yeah, like I said, you're kind of 20 years too late because this is all based on Oh yeah. Oh, hang on. I should.
so, Kate, if you look at my comments from 20 years ago, then no, it's right.
Okay, go live. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this is kind of the soft launch of Tarot for Troubadour. It's on my YouTube channel, Cat Black Tarot. I'm hoping to get feedback from tarot fans in the community so that I can actually go live for proper on the 1st of April because April Fool's Day and it's the Fool. And so if you could go to my YouTube and subscribe and any comments, because of the bots, they might not come up straight away, but I will read them. And that would be awesome because I've got like a week to get a final version. Thank you. I'll get carried away, you probably noticed. I said I make one card, oops, did it again. Sorry, Brittany. Oh, FAQs, are there any questions? Anyone got, I don't know whether anyone like, sorry, so, yes?
We make sure to use by indicate tics.
Oh, sorry, Pamela Coleman-Smith. And apparently AE8 gave zero shits about minor arcana, and so he basically just let her do her own thing. Would that be a fair kind of...
We don't really know.
We don't really know.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence to suggest, from Mary's excellent book that she collaborated with Stuart on,
Yeah.
which I meant to bring today. It's my favourite. I should just on it tomorrow. Excellent book. So to me, she is what made tarot mean something to me. Thank you.